Were you aware of the success of the MVP Ventures grant before the 2023-24 budget cuts were announced?
Well, the MVP grant is still ongoing.
No, I'm asking if you were aware of the success before the cuts were announced at the budget.
Well, I look, the MVP grant is still ongoing, so I
No,
think it's
that's
still
not my
working.
question, Minister. My question is, were you aware of the success of the MVP Ventures grant before it was cut in your budget when you were Minister?
Well, the budget, as I said, we were talking about budget, we're talking about grants, right? So let's also make the point that the former government chair
Minister,
cut the budgets
there
of
are
this whole
people
program
watching-
on all of this.
Minister,
No,
there are
let me-
people watching today who are very
Listen.
interested in the process of how this department and how your ministerial responsibilities are run. There are people out there who are suffering because of the decisions that your government, that you as minister, have made. These are entirely reasonable process questions so that we can get to the bottom of who is responsible and why you are making the decisions that you're making. So
Well,
were you
yeah, sure.
aware
Yeah,
of
look-
the success of the MVP Ventures grant before the 2023-24 budget cuts?
Well, that's why the MVP grant is still ongoing. And let's not also forget,
Okay.
Chair, we're talking about grants here and we're talking about budget cuts.
Can I
and
please,
I can say
can I
to
please
the
move on,
committee
Minister? You're
that the
obviously
former
not
government
answering the
cut
question.
the coal
Minister,
grant.
directed
look,
to the
60% of the
member.
funding that was actually cut before.
Minister, we
I
have
even-
limited time here, so please may I redirect you. We've seen the reinstatement of a stripped back version of the MVP grant, so that's significantly less money. We're talking $10 million down to $3 million. So there was no official media release. Could you please explain why your office didn't prepare a ministerial media release with relevant details of the MVP Ventures grant program?
Well, the MVP grant is still ongoing, and I think this group will
Do
continue.
you
to-
ever
Well,
look
I'm
at the
sorry, I don't-
departmental's
I
website?
don't
Do you
operate my
understand
whole
the
ministry.
confusion in the industry around this grant, and you couldn't even put out a ministerial media release? Can you explain to me why the reinstatement of the grant was picked up through sector leaders' LinkedIn posts instead of an official piece of communication by you?
Well, look, I'm sorry. Maybe unlike the former government, I don't operate the ministry just by pure media releases.
Well, you don't seem to
we
do
work
anything.
Minister,
through-
you don't
we
seem
work through
you don't
the
seem to
policy
meet with
process.
your stakeholders. You
We
haven't
work-
met with
well, I
fish
do.
burners.
I mean,
You haven't met with Juni Prison. You're actually
my
not meeting with the
diary, my stakeholders is all
RSPCA.
43.
Who are you meeting with? It's just
Well,
unbelievable.
you're welcome to look at my diary disclosure. I've met with
So,
a number of
so could you
stakeholders
could you
across the whole
please?
policy
I've looked closely at your diary disclosures, and they're very disappointing. Why didn't your office prepare a ministerial media release with relevant details of the significantly stripped back MVP Ventures program?
Well, the MVP, as I said, is still ongoing. It's still working.
But it was cut.
And what we want
Did
to
you ever
do,
look at?
what
there
we
was
want to do, in the
incredible
whole,
confusion
can I just
in
say,
the
the whole
industry.
innovation space, we need to think much broader
Cut.
than just a
This
financial
is an
transaction. It's about growing the
unbelievable
ecosystem.
abdication of your
Thank you.
responsibilities.
They're more than just actually
Unbelievable.
Thank you.